now everybody should be able to see me. Okay, now everybody should be able to see me. All right, audio sounds good too. Let's get this go. Let me actually get this shared here. Saved. That's all tweeted out. Good. Okay, let me get rid of this. That's all tweeted out. Alright, guys. It's your boy Malin coming at you with a new Madden 24 rebuild. That's right. Now, this is probably one of the last teams that I really feel like that need a really serious rebuild project, and that's the Carolina Panthers. The current state of the Carolina Panthers in real life is pretty disgusting, if you will. The owner is running this team into the ground, but they have promising players. They got a young quarterback in Bryce Young, who they drafted, #1 overall. They have players like Brian Burns and, Derek Brown, who used to be, I think, with the Eagles. And they have, of course, Miles Sanders. This team has some decent weapons, but they need a big-time facelift. They need somebody to come in here and really rebuild this team. I've rebuilt the team just to the right. I've rebuilt the Patriots successfully, the Bears, and the Cardinals. I think the Panthers are really the last really bad team that definitely is guaranteed in real life a top 10 NFL draft pick that seriously needs to be rebuilt and really needs to be looked at and changed up a lot. Now, one thing I'm going to do a little bit differently is that, first of all, let me just start in the preseason, make sure that's all correct. Going to change the role to make myself the owner. And with this particular rebuild, I think the best person to rebuild the Carolina Panthers team is one of the greatest players in the history of the franchise, albeit only since 1996. And that is Mr. Steve Smith Sr., a.k.a. one of the smallest but feistiest receivers in the history of the NFL. Steve Smith Sr. is now taking over as the owner of the Carolina Panthers. And he's going to restore that Panther pride, get them back to hopefully another opportunity to compete for a Super Bowl. The Panthers have not been to a Super Bowl since their only appearance in 2003, where they lost to the Patriots. Since then, they've been through a 1-15 season in 2010. It did land in Cam Newton, but the Cam Newton era is long dead. And last season, they hit rock bottom again. So now, Frank Reich, we're going to be patient with Frank Reich at least for 1 to 2 more seasons. In real life, they fired him and they promoted, I believe, Steve Wilkes, one of the assistant coaches, to the interim position. So Frank Reich, done in real life. But in this rebuild, I'm going to give him a chance, at least in the first few seasons, to hopefully get this team rebuilt. We're not changing the coaching right off the bat just yet. In most of the rebuilds that I've done so far, I have changed the coaches, but that usually came in about year 3 when I just realized that nothing was really working very well. I had to, really just go in different directions, and that's what had to happen. So let me make sure I get my settings all correct, because a lot of these settings I really like to have on my own changed, just to ensure that I get the experience that I want when I do this. This is always the settings I go with. I have accelerated clock on, but 8-minute quarters, 15 seconds of a delay. Customize, weekly training, auto, everything else in terms of, management and doing, stuff like that, including cut days. scout players manual, league advancement auto, manage practice reps auto, because I don't really like to deal with the whole practice scenarios and all that type of stuff. I'm going to turn pop-up tutorials off because I don't want anybody talking, during this, try to interrupt me. Auto harass talents, auto harass players. Fill roster off. Okay. That one always trips me up a little bit, but here we go. Getting ready to start the Carolina Panthers rebuild. And just like I always do, gonna simulate through pretty much all the first season except the last game of the regular season, because I don't think this is a playoff team in the first year. And we're gonna get through the first off season as well. Okay, so first off, let's go ahead and upgrade players right off the bat, and then we'll take a look at our roster. Now, there's some names on this roster who I think are decent players that maybe some of them we can keep and build around, but a lot of these guys are guys that I don't really see us keeping along here for a while. So let's take a look at our roster and see what we are working with. First and foremost, right off the bat, we have Andy Dalton and Bryce Young are rated the same at both 72 overalls. And Dalton, I believe, is on a one-year deal anyway, and he may retire at the end of the season, so we're not bringing him back. This is Bryce Young's team. Okay, this is Bryce Young's team. We're going to ride with him. He's a young quarterback. I know that he's got a lot to develop still, but this is a rebuild, so we're going to take our time. The main thing that I want to try to do is get the pieces around Young to be able to complement him very well. Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders are our running backs. Hubbard is actually rated at 1 point higher. I like Hubbard, but we don't have a running back in the 80s. Now, Sanders or Hubbard could maybe get to that at some point during the season, but I don't know. Do I want to build my running game around one or two of these guys? Maybe, maybe not. I'm really not sure about that. And Blankshire looks like is out for the season, and so is our fullback, Richie. I want to take a look at the injury report and see what existing injuries we already have. Our best receiver is Adam Thielen, 85 overall. He's been in the league for 10 years. Now, if memory serves me correct, from all of the rebuilds that I've done with different teams in Madden 24, Thielen usually retires after the first year of the rebuild. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen if we have a season where we're not at the bottom of the barrel and maybe he has a 1,000-yard campaign. Maybe that'll convince him to come back for one more season, but I don't really know. We do have DJ Chark Jr. I mean, solid, but our receiving core, we really don't have a bona fide receiver outside of Adam Thielen, and he may not be here past year one because he may retire. So really, all three so other than the quarterback, a lot of the skill positions on offense need an upgrade. We really need to take a look and see what we need to do. What's up, Ashton Wright? So, we also got Chenault, and we also got Terrence Marshall Jr. and Jonathan Mingo as well. There's some solid wideouts here. A lot of these guys are pretty young, but I don't know how they're going to really develop. Hayden Hurst is our starting tight end, 79 overall. Tommy Tremble, 71. I mean, young guy, I don't know how long Hurst will be here. I'd like to maybe keep him around for at least one or two more seasons based on his overall being the highest we have of a tight end. But he's not. But I don't really know if Hurst is the solution. I don't really think so. Left tackle, we have Ikem Ekwonu, 79 overall left tackle. Let's see about our offensive line. We got another 73 overall, Brady Christensen, 73. But it looks like he's hurt. Is he? Yeah, he's hurt. Bozeman, 71 overall. 76 overall, Corbett, but he's injured as well. We got a lot of guys injured. Our highest rated offensive lineman is Taylor Moton, 6-year man out of Western Michigan, 83 overall. So that's our best offensive lineman. Chris Wormley is on the team, 73 overall. We have an 87 overall Derek Brown, though. Okay, that's a little bit that's nice. He's one of our top players. 87 overall defensive end. I like that. Henry Anderson, 74, but he's hurt as well. Marquise Haynes, 71 overall linebacker. Shaq Thompson, I forgot about him, but it looks like he's banged up as well. But Frankie Louvu, that's an interesting name. He's 80 overall middle linebacker. We got Deion Jones, 77. I remember him from the Atlanta Falcons. A bunch of different guys. Brian Burns. This man right now is the face of the defense, and he's one of our best players. 86 overall. He's got the superstar ability, so I'd like to keep Burns for the entire rebuild if we can, because he's still very young. He's only been in the league for 4 years out of Florida State. Good, solid linebacker to kind of build this core around. And we've got, Gross Matos, 73 overall. I don't know if he'll be around for much longer. J.C. Horn is another solid defensive player. He's only been here for 2 years. He's a scheme fit guy, South Carolina. Really interested to work with him. And Dante Jackson, 79 overall out of LSU, 5-year man. Some of these guys, Troy Hill, not really bona fide stars. We have Shaquille Griffin. He may be somebody I keep around just for depth reasons and, solid ability. We do have Xavier Rhodes, former Dallas Cowboy, 82 overall free safety. I liked Xavier Rhodes in Dallas, and I still like him as a solid safety option. And plus, we only have a few guys in the 80s overall for this entire ball club, so I want to keep some of these guys here if we can. I mean, Von Bell, 79 overall. Jeremy Chin, 78. Strong safety, not looking too great. I'm not really happy about having a 74 overall kicker. Johnny Hecker is still here, but he's regressed a little bit. He's 33 years old. He's been in the league for 11 years. I mean, he's been to the Pro Bowl a few times when he was with the Rams, but Hecker may be on the back end of his career. I don't know if he'll be for much longer. So let me take a look overall at our top players. Derek Brown, Brian Burns, Adam Thielen, J.C. Horn, Shaq Thompson, and Taylor Moton, Xavier Rhodes, Lavu. Those are the only guys that are in the 80s. So solid guys, but our best rated guy is only 87 overall, and that's Derek Brown. This is going to be a pretty tough rebuild based on what I'm looking at so far. Coupled with the fact that we have a quarterback who is playing his rookie season. Is he going to get better? I hope so. But he's still got a long way to go. We have a 75 overall rated offense. Woof. That is not very good as far as a starting point. So one thing I want to go ahead and try to do really quick is take a look at the free agent pool, because let me actually take a look at one other thing first, because we have a lot of injuries already. Now, I know that these are injuries that happen in real life to the Panthers, so I want to take a look at really who's injured, because I think it might be in the best interest to go ahead and sign some free agents who were top of the market in the preseason before anybody else snatches them up. I mean, look at this. Every single one of these guys, most of these guys are on IR. Now, Blackshear is not, because he's only going to be out for 1 week with a hip pointer. But look at all these guys. Look at all these guys. Shaq Thompson and Henry Anderson, our best defensive tackle and middle linebacker, are uninjured reserve. Anderson had a foot fracture, so he's done. Thompson is on IR because of a back strain, so we're not going to be able to use him for the season. Nor are we going to be able to use Hurst. So we're down to our, backup tight end. Chenault is also on IR, so we don't have one of our receivers. Our starting fullback. So I'm going to go ahead and get a fullback, and I'm also going to go ahead and get a defensive tackle. I'm not really going to get another middle linebacker because we have a guy that was like 79, but I'm going to go ahead and get a fullback. I know that's kind of a little bit, not like necessary, but I mean, in my eyes, I think we need to get a fullback in here for the running game, because I don't want to have a tight end handling all of the blocking duties. Let's go to fullbacks and let's see who's out here. So Andy Janovich is the best rated fullback, and he also fits our scheme. Welcome to the Carolina Panthers. Join us on this tough first season. Kind of like with the Cardinals, because they had so many guys on IR, I decided to go ahead and bring in some guys to fill in as stopgap players, including like Carson Wentz. Let me go to defensive tackles and let's see if there's somebody here who could help us out, because we're really struggling at defensive tackle. Now, I'm going to go ahead and actually bring in Ndamukong Suh, 71 overall. I know he's not very solid anymore. He's kind of on the back end of his career, but I want to bring him in just on a quick 1-year deal, give him some veteran presence and a defensive tackle. And let's also take a look at middle linebackers, and let's see. Miles Jack is out there. Let's bring him in with Shaq Thompson out for the year. All right, so we're bringing in 3 kind of, stopgap mentor player type of guys to help kind of just plug some of the holes. Now, let me see about tight ends, because maybe we can get a solid tight end as a free agent to help fill in for the fact that we have a tight end who's not, super, super good. It's tempting for me to bring in Zach Ertz, but let's actually go ahead and bring in Zach Ertz on a 1-year deal as well. Give us a little bit of extra help at tight end. And I think we have plenty of cap space, so we're able to sign some of these guys on 1-year deals. So let's take a look and see what that kind of does to our roster, most notably our depth chart. So let me go ahead and adjust the depth chart for this first year and make sure that we're all kind of squared away before we get going with the preseason game number 1. So I don't know why Andy Dalton is starting. Bryce Young is our starting quarterback. He will be starting this season. I don't know why Andy Dalton was in there. And we're going to keep Hubbard in there so far. Sanders is probably still going to get a lot of touches. Janovich is currently the 3rd back, but we're going to get Blackshear back. Janovich is our starting fullback going into this season. As far as receivers, Thielen, Chark, Mingo. We have Smith, Marsty, and Stretchen. So Ertz, he is going to be our starting tight end for this season. Tommy Tremble, I like him, but, getting a veteran in there, I think like Zach Ertz is going to be okay too. All right, offensive line, we're looking okay there. We have some injuries at the offensive line spots as well. Moten, we got Wormley, and of course Derek Brown. And we've got, let's put Ndamukong Suh as our starting defensive tackle. Kind of move Tuttle back there a little bit, but Suh is going to be our starting defensive tackle. Can we give him number 93? We can't do it in this menu. We'll see if I can. Let's see here. I want Frankie, Deion Jones. Thought about linebackers, but no. We're going to do that just to give us, Burns over there and, so we're not scrapping at the bottom so much, if you will. There's Rhodes. Still have Von Bell, Nero, and Hecker. Okay. Kick returner. We'll keep Smith, Marsty in there as our kickoff and punt returner. Kickoff specialist is going to be Hecker. I think our long snapper may be I don't know who the long snapper is on this team. It's J.J. Jansen. Okay. Yeah, he's definitely a long snapper. 3rd down back. We're just going to let Chuba Hubbard kind of get this first season, if you will. We're going to go ahead and do that. Let me see if I can change Sue's number. Maybe give him like a number in the 90s, kind of like he normally is. Sue is about the same overall as Tuttle, but, I think Sue coming in here is going to help out at least a little bit in certain ways because, our best defensive tackle, Anderson, is out for the season. So, having Sue in here as a veteran to help out a little bit is cool with me. They got his face right, pretty well if you ask me, so. All right, well, we can't give him a number in the 90s. He's going to stay at 77. So he'll be 77 this season. I know it's Chris Jenkins' number, the former offensive lineman. So that's going to be us going into the first year. So let's go ahead and let's get through the first week, the preseason. We'll get to cut down days. Obviously, we're going to have to cut some players because we, signed 3 guys. So we're going to have to make some adjustments with our roster. We lost our first preseason game, 30-7. But we're going to get a lot of L's this season. I'm already prepared for all that, believe me. So you don't have to worry about me getting upset about a preseason loss to the Jets. Kind of like I have had with the Bears, this rebuild may be one that takes a little while, but I think this is really going to be a challenge for me. Because there's really not a lot of guys on this team that are like bona fide stars, And we beat the Giants in our second preseason game, so that's promising. And now we're playing back at home in our final preseason game against the Detroit Lions. We're giving Bryce Young this whole season unless he gets hurt. Then we're going to put Dalton in there, and we're going to go with that. So we already got 29 staff points to spend, so let's go ahead and start spending those. Because we got to get this staff looking a lot better. Because Frank Reich has had experience as a coach, but he still has a ways to go, if you ask me. So let's go ahead and start kind of from the ground up with him. We kind of have to with the skill tree, if you will. So Reich is probably going to get a lot of the points when we earn them initially, just because I want to get our head coach up to a decent level. Because, like I said, I'm not going to give up on him just yet. We still have a while to go. And unfortunately, we have another new injury. So who is hurt now? Thompson. I can't tell who's new and who was already hurt, to be honest with y'all. So let's go to the bottom. Oh, man. Well, Zach Ertz, who we signed just for this season, is out for 7 weeks with a broken hand. Oh, boy. Well, we're just going to go with Tremble. I think Ertz will eventually come back. Ertz will eventually come back, and we'll ride with him. Let's go ahead and cut 4 players. Got a lot of extra guys to cut, so let's get to it. I may go ahead and sign a third quarterback, mostly because we might need an emergency third quarterback. It's better for a team to have that than to not have that. Mike Stretchen, we're going to move you to practice squad, and we're going to do the same thing. No, not with Hayes. He's our kick returner. Steven Sullivan, no. Jansen's our long snapper, so I kind of don't want to cut him. Can we cut Thurman? No, it's going to get a cap penalty. Oh, yeah, we got a lot of linebackers. Oh, yeah, we also signed Miles Jack to give us some depth there as well. So let's cut Tay Davis. And no, that's going to give us a penalty if we cut Gruger Hill. Let's put Iku Lioto on practice squad, and let's also let's go to other positions. Jameson, let's move into practice squad, and we're done. All right. Cool. And it looks like we still have some skill points to spend with 9 of them. So let me see if I can spend a small amount of points, maybe like 8 of them somewhere for Frank Reich. No, that's 40. Let's go to offensive coordinator. Oh! Spend 9 points there. Okay. Alright, cool. So we got some skill points we were able to spend on our offensive coordinator. Andre Weaver. Okay, so done with the preseason. Let's go ahead and advance to the regular season. We've done cut days, and we've done everything that we need to do. Let's make sure we choose the draft class, the correct one. I'm going to make sure I take my time with this to make sure I don't put the wrong draft class in there. Obviously, it's going to be the same deal. Caleb Williams, Drake May, everybody else is in this class. So let's go ahead and get our draft class in here so we can get going with that. All right. Wait. I just usually override it because I never know what changes have been made, if any. Sometimes no changes have been made, but still. All right, so let's double check and take a look. We got Caleb, we got May, Harrison Jr., Bowers. Oh, yeah. And Kool-Aid. I forgot about him. So we've got our accurate 2024 draft class. So here we go. Sometimes Caleb Williams is the best quarterback, and sometimes Drake May is. It always alternates every year, usually, when I do a rebuild with different selections of draft class guys. All right. So let's go ahead and get this going. Simulate to the middle of the season. Actually, I simulated to next week, but okay. We'll do it, and then we'll simulate to the middle of the season. I forgot to select the right thing. Well, we won our first game, actually, against the Falcons, surprisingly. So Bryce Young wins his first game in the NFL. Good for him. All right, let's simulate some midseason. Simulate multiple weeks and see where we're at. Got an opening day win against Atlanta. Let's see how many we get in year one. Not expecting anything because, this is the beginning of the rebuild. We made, with the moves that we made to help out our defense and getting Zach Ertz, even though he's out for 7 weeks with a broken foot or something, I still feel like that we can get a few wins, but, I don't expect us to get 8, 9 of them in the first year. If we do, I'm going to be really surprised. I'm going to be super surprised. It means we're definitely playing above our heads. But I can't see us getting more than maybe like 4 or 5 wins in the first season. If that. What? We are 5-1? Oh my goodness. Wow, okay. This is super duper shocking. I cannot believe that we are 5-1 already. Unbelievable. I got to take a look at our schedule and see how we got here because I got to see this. I got to take a look at this. Okay, so I know we won our first game against Atlanta in week 1. Then we beat the Saints. Beat the Seahawks on the road, and our only loss was to the Vikings, but only by 7. We beat the Lions. We crushed the Lions. Beat the Dolphins, and now we're at home against the Texans this week. Man, talk about forget a rebuild. This may be a season where we're, close to maybe making the playoffs. Starting 5-1, everything can always crumble down. So, and with all the injuries that we have, wow, Bryce Young, I'm glad I decided to give him the reins and let him go. All right, well, Brian Burns is definitely somebody that I want to keep around. This is a 6-year deal. You need to do more convincing this team is for my future. Okay, wow, okay, so he's really going to drive us up a bargain. So Frankie, I think, is somebody that I'm going to probably let walk. You know what? No, he's 80. He's in the 80s. Let's try to keep him. Any future deals need to count? Okay. Man, so these guys really want player-friendly deals. Oh, man. Well, Ertz we're going to let walk. He was a 1-year rental anyway. Same thing with Jack. Same thing with Janovich. Same thing with Sue. Chen is not our starter, so we can let him walk. Deion Jones, he's not a starter. We'll let him walk. Maybe Chark. I think I'd rather keep Chark over Chenault. Let's see about this 3-year deal. Wow, so he doesn't want that either. Wow, so none of these guys are biting on offers. It's kind of discouraging. Shaquille Griffin is tempting to keep for depth reasons. Anderson. I'll just keep him for 1 more year for depth. Exactly the offer he was hoping for. Great, okay. Now, we're probably going to be shopping for a lot of positions anyway this offseason, but I wanted to keep him at least so that way we have some depth if we get a new defensive end to kind of replace things. Wormley, we can do better than him in free agency, so we're going to let him walk. Same thing with Gross. Henderson, you can walk. Haynes, Gruger Hill, yeah, a lot of these guys can go ahead and walk away. Booth, no. Bottle, no. Steven Sullivan, no. I think a lot of these guys we're going to let walk. We can get a better fullback, even though Richie was injured the whole season, but we can get a better fullback than him in free agency to replace him. Okay, so we were able to get Anderson, our starting defensive tackle, even though he's hurt, because we brought in Ndamukong Suh to basically fill in for him for this season. Burns and Luvu are 2 guys that I really would like to keep, but our initial offers we gave them, they didn't budge. So, and we actually don't have a whole ton of cap room in this first year. But I really would like to lock down Brian Burns and Vu for, another couple of seasons. Well, hopefully, let's see how the season progresses, and then maybe if we're actually a playoff team, we're on the fringe of making the playoffs, then, we can go from there. So first things first, let's go ahead and simulate through this game against the Texans. They're 2-4, and we are surprisingly 5-1. So we may be making a run for the playoffs. I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to say in year one, but it is. And not only that, but we beat the Texans. We're 6-1. We are running away with the NFC South title. So, wow, did not expect this in our first year of this being a rebuild. But we are definitely exceeding expectations. No question about it. And we've got the Colts this week at home. They're 4-4. Let's get back to negotiating with Burns and Luvu. Frankie. I'll just say Frankie. Okay, so let me see about player friendly. Wow, okay. Man, this is a 7-year deal. Surely I could find a better team. Really? Man, okay. Frankie? Player friendly. Happy to sign. Okay, so we got Frankie, but Burns, geez, we're going to have to offer him the barn to keep him. But he's one of our best players. I just don't want to let him walk. If we have to franchise tag him, we'll do that. But none of the other guys I'm going to keep. All right, so anyway, back to football. We got a game against the 4-4 Colts this week. They still have, an 88 overall Jonathan Taylor. But, Colts are reeling because I think, they don't have their quarterback. Minshew's probably starting games right now. And we lost to the Colts by, looks like 8 or 6. I can't really tell. Let's answer a media question. It's probably going to be about how we are at the midpoint of the season. Point of the season, you get a good spot. How do you feel this team can go? Worry about winning each week. Because, I've seen teams falter with a great 6-2 start, but, falter down the stretch and not play very well, which could happen to us. Well, maybe the free agents we brought, like Sue and Jack and the fullback, have, helped out on defense and on offense in certain ways. And Bryce Young probably is running away with Rookie of the Year, so that's pretty encouraging, for him to be playing this good in his first season as our quarterback. So it definitely makes me feel pretty good about moving along with him. All right, 6-2, and we're playing a 1-8 Bears team, so they are terrible. We should win this game based on how well we're doing this year and how poorly they're playing. And we beat the Bears 28-9. Let's go ahead and delegate the scouting focus to the staff. Let's go ahead and upgrade players once again. Now, this may be our toughest test of the whole season. We got a game at home against the Cowboys, and let's see what their record is. They're probably very good. Well, 7-2. Okay, but we're 7-2 as well, so this is probably arguably our biggest game of the season. We're playing a team that if we make the playoffs, we're definitely probably going to run into them. So we'll see. First things first, let's go ahead and get back to negotiating with Brian Burns and see if we can get him to stay. So I think the offer we got to go with, unfortunately, is a very player-friendly deal. Happy to sign, but that just eats up so much of the cap. But he will be here for the entirety of this rebuild, guaranteed. Everybody else who's a free agent, walking away. Good thing is that our top-rated defensive player, Derek Barnett, is not set to have his contract expire yet. So he'll be here definitely for next season, but I did not want to let Brian Burns walk away. We had to keep him. 7-year deal is a lot, but, he's a guy that, we're counting on to build our defense around and keep it that way for years to come. Well, unfortunately, we lost to the Cowboys, but we only lost by 3. Like I said, that was probably our toughest game of the year against a very good team that's going to be in the playoffs. And at 7-3, leading an NFC South division that isn't very good, feeling like we're in a pretty good spot. I don't really see any scenario where somebody catches us unless we start to falter and the Falcons start to reel off a lot more wins under Ritter at quarterback. Playing the Titans this week, they're in a bad spot. They're 3-7. This is one that we should also win. I'm pretty sure they have Will Levis starting, but Derrick Henry is still there at 95 overall, so he's still dangerous. This could be a tough game, but we'll see. Well, not for Bryce Young. We win by a touchdown. And now we're going into a division game against the 5-6 Bucks. They're third, I believe, in the South, so they're clinging on for dear life at this point of the season. And the Saints are 5-6 as well. Yeah, everybody else other than us is 5-6. So I don't think anybody is capable of catching us this season in order to spoil us not getting into the playoffs. I'll tell you what, I did not expect us to be a playoff team in the first year of this rebuild, but yet here we are. Bryce Young must just be playing phenomenal football, and Adam Thielen must be having a great season. If we get to the playoffs, maybe that'll convince Thielen to stick around for one more season, but we will see. So right now we would be the 3 seed. Eagles are 6. We'd be playing them. Lions are 4th. Washington's 5th. And Dallas is 2. Vikings are 7. But the 49ers are 1. Got Chiefs, Jets, Bills, Broncos, Colts, Steelers, and the Ravens is the number 1 seed. So just like in real life, you know, the real life number 1 seeds in the 2023 season are looking like it in this first year of the rebuild. The Niners and the Ravens. Okay, we're not negotiating anymore with any players because we've got Burns and we got Luvu, so we're not worrying about any more negotiating right now until we get to the offseason. But let's see how we do against the Bucks. Big game. And we beat them by 1 point. So we're getting wins. We're getting them closely, but we're getting them done. This team is playing very good football towards the end of the season. I'm really surprised that this team, as low rated on offense as they were, is playing really above their heads. And it must also be our running game. We have 2 running backs that are solid, but they're not like household name guys with Hubbard and Miles Sanders. Of course, Sanders has experience from a Super Bowl run last year with the Eagles, but he's in real life he's been a shell of himself this year. But then again, this is Madden, so sometimes you got to expect the unexpected sometimes. Okay, so we're playing the Saints this week. Let's go ahead. Let's actually advance to the playoffs and see where we are at. Because it looks like unless we just completely lose out, we're probably going to be in the playoffs this season. First year of the rebuild, and we're in the playoffs. How about that? I mean, with all the injuries that this team has, and we don't have any really big name players, this is a very surprising season. I think Frank Reich, without a question, has secured his spot as keeping his job for probably the rest of the rebuild. Because this being a first playoff season, because this first season being potentially a playoff season, that shows promise moving forward that I can get this team back to being a Super Bowl contending team in the NFC. And here we are. Wild card round of the playoffs in year 1 of a rebuild with the Panthers, who I thought we were going to really struggle to be able to rebuild, and here we are first year in the playoffs. Now, I'm probably doing a disservice to myself by doing this, but I'm actually not going to play the first year of the playoffs because I'm not saying that I'm not proud. I'm not saying that I'm not proud of this team for getting to be 11-6 and winning the NFC South, albeit by the same record as the Falcons had. But let me just look at the playoff bracket. Actually, it looks like the Bucks might have snuck into the playoffs too. Actually, no, they didn't. They went 11-6 and they didn't win and then get to the playoffs because we beat them, I think, twice. So we own the tiebreaker above them. So we're the 3rd seed. Dallas is 2, Eagles 7. We're playing the Giants this week. Vikings at 4, Falcons at 5th. Oh, I don't know why I said Bucks. I meant Falcons. So the Falcons did make the playoffs as the 2nd team behind us. We lost to the Bucks last week. That's why I'm looking at that. I saw their logo up there. Okay, well, I'm actually going to simulate this wild card round, and let's see how we do. Are we able to pull out a big-time win with a rookie quarterback in a season that I thought was going to be oh my goodness, we're in the divisional round against the Cowboys. We beat the Giants by 2 touchdowns. Oh my goodness, and we're in the divisional round against the same team that we hosted at home in the regular season, and we only lost by a little bit. Let's advance. I don't think we're going to win this game, but let's see. Still, we got some aging guys. Yep, we lost to the Cowboys. Okay, so, oh my goodness. I'm really shocked that we did as well as we did this season. The good thing is that because this is a playoff team and we're 80s as a team already, I don't really think I need to do any serious. I don't think I need to do super serious overhauls in this first off season in order to get this team back into winning shape. Let's go ahead and advance through the rest of the playoffs. We'll take a look at the whole picture when we get to Super Bowl week. We've got, of course, the Pro Bowl. Let's take a look at the Pro Bowl roster and see if any of our Panthers made it. So Janovich, who we signed off the streets, made it as the backup fullback behind Ham. So how about that? And we had no Panthers make the Pro Bowl this year. A little bit surprised I didn't see somebody like Brian Burns in there. But it is what it is. So let's advance to Super Bowl week. We'll see who's taking on who. It looks like it. Oh my goodness. I looked at the screen that's on a delay on my laptop. It's the Cowboys against the Texans in the Super Bowl in the first year. We got an all-Texas Super Bowl in the first year of this Panthers rebuild. So how about that? Let's take a look at the playoff bracket and let's see what else happened. So the Cowboys beat the Eagles. We beat the Giants, of course. The Vikings, they beat the Falcons. We, of course, lost to the Cowboys in the second round by 3 touchdowns. I mean, they're a way better team than us. We got a rookie quarterback. That's what you expect. The Vikings beat the Niners. So the Cowboys beat the Vikings. We had the Chiefs beat the Bengals. Bills beat the Broncos, really blew them out. Texans, they beat the Steelers. The Chiefs beat the Bills. The Texans upset the Ravens on the road. So Lamar Jackson had no answer. And the Texans get revenge against the Chiefs in the AFC title game from the 2019 divisional round. Wow, Patrick Mahomes upset by the Texans in his own backyard. So it is an all-Texas Super Bowl. We got the Texans against the Cowboys in the Super Bowl in the first year. Wow. Well, that is very interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at yearly awards. I got a feeling that Bryce Young was in the running for Rookie of the Year. So the MVP went to Jalen Hurts. Didn't have any Panthers in the running. Coach of the Year, Frank Reich, finished 3rd in Coach of the Year. Congrats to him. Offensive Player of the Year in the NFC went to Jalen Hurts. No Panthers in sight for that. Defensive Player of the Year. No Panthers in sight there either. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Bryce Young finished 2nd behind Jaden Reed. Wow. All right. Well, a little surprised. I mean, the Packers went 6-11. Bryce Young led this team to the playoffs in the NFC South title in his first year as a rookie. You got to give it to him, NFL. Come on. Anyway, not going to get too butthurt about that. Good year. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Nobody there. Best QB. Bryce Young finished 7th overall in that. Okay, best running back. Chuba Hubbard came in 7th. Best receiver. Adam Thielen came in 9th. We'll see if he comes back. I don't know. Best offensive lineman. No Panthers there. Best defensive lineman. Derek Brown finished 7th. Best linebacker. No sign of Brian Burns. He must have had a tough season. Best DB. Dante Jackson. I mean, that doesn't change the fact that I want to keep Burns here for a while. Best kicker. Eddie Pinheiro finished 4th. Okay. All right. So, no awards taking home, but Bryce Young did finish 2nd in running for Offensive Rookie of the Year. A little bit surprised that he didn't get it, but, you know, it is what it is. He still led us to a fantastic season as a rookie, and I'm pretty sure his rating has only gone up because he started the year at a 72. I'm going to be very interested to see in the offseason what his rating is now, because I have to imagine it's getting to the high 70s, maybe close to the 80s. I don't know. Let's take a look at the season recap screen and see what else we can look at. So, Coach of the Year went to John Harbaugh of the Ravens. Hurts and DeMarcus Lawrence won Defensive Player of the Year. The Cowboys beat the Texans in the Super Bowl, so they've won their 6th championship. The MVP went to Dak Prescott. All right. Jaden Reed, Offensive Rookie of the Year, as we well know. And Will Anderson won Defensive Rookie of the Year with the Texans, helping them get to a Super Bowl. Their first ever one. All right. So, pretty interesting first season, to say the least. We are a playoff team in the first year of the rebuild. But this offseason, we don't have a lot of cap room, and we do have some positions that I would like to upgrade, especially on the offensive and defensive line based on ratings alone. But we'll see. We'll see what we have happen here. We got the big-name guys signed already during the season, so I'm going to let everybody else who's an impending free agent walk. But I want to see, did Adam Thielen decide to retire? He did. So our best receiver is gone. Well, that's a pretty tough pill to swallow. So we got to upgrade our receiving core already in the first year. And also our long snapper, Jansen, retired, and Ndamukong Suh retired after 14 seasons. That's not surprising. So with Thielen retiring, I want to take a look at players ready to negotiate and see. I can't remember if we were able to re-sign DJ Chark or not. Something tells me we weren't able to because he was driving up a hard bargain. I want to keep him around if possible. Let's go with a player-friendly deal for 4 years. Like to play for a new team next year. Okay, so he doesn't want to come back. So we've lost. You know what? Just to ensure... Chark, we're franchise tagging you, buddy. I want to keep at least a decent receiver here. Unfortunately, that gives us pretty much no cap space to do anything. Well, I shouldn't say none. It just gives us very, very little. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the free agency offseason. And let's see what we can do. You know... This team did make the playoffs, and we did win the NFC South, so something tells me we don't really need to do any major upgrades, but at the same time, we're losing players from, a team that was, pretty good. So let's see what we have to really replace here. So I didn't see Andy Dalton's contract expire, so I guess he's going to be here for a little while, and look at that. Bryce Young is up to a 79. Pretty solid. Don't really need to do anything with running backs because we're pretty good there. We're pretty set there. We need to get a new fullback because we let both of them walk. You see, getting Chark, even on the franchise tag, it guarantees that we still have a decent receiver because Mingo is good, but I want to get another guy in the 80s if we possibly can. But we may just have to rock with Mingo and Marshall as our other best options, opposites of Chark. And we still have Hurst. He's going to be able to play next season, so that's good. And we got Tremble still. Could use some upgrades on the offensive line, but because we really do not have a lot of cap room to go out and pursue big-name free agents, we may have to, wait a year for that. But we need to get a new left defensive end. We don't have one on the roster. And Shai Tuttle actually is up to a 72. We're going to get Anderson. We got Anderson to come back. Shaq Thompson is still here. We still have Brian Burns, but we could use a new left outside linebacker. We only have one guy, and he's in the 70s. And we let a lot of our corners go, so we need to get some more depth at corner because we really don't have anybody else. And we still have our kicker and punter, so we're not really going to mess with that. We could get upgrades there, but I'm not really going to mess with that too much. All I can say is, based on the hand that we've been dealt with our cap situation in the first offseason, This second season could be a tough one because look at the lack of money we have to spend. Just $18.3 million. That's not a lot of money. A lot of our replacements are going to have to come through the draft. But I want to take a look at left defensive end and see who's out here because we need to upgrade there. Oh, Chase Young. But you know what? Danico Autry, I think, is somebody that we can bring in for a deal that's not super, super big. So let's go ahead and offer him a one-year deal. We're his only offer, so I think we're going to be able to sign him. I mean, Tyron Smith is out there, but he's not interested in coming, so I'm not going to mess with him. Receivers. Kendrick Bourne is an 80. He doesn't fit our scheme, though. That's what kind of discourages me from trying to offer him. And I really just want to offer guys who are actually interested in coming here. I don't want to, you know what? Let's go ahead and see if we can get Bourne in here on a cheap deal for maybe like 3 years. Just get another receiver in the 80s to go on the opposite side of Shark. And what does that put us at? I can see better on my laptop. Yeah, 2.11 million. Yeah, this may be it, guys. I think this is all we can do. You know what? Let me lower this offer actually. Team friendly. Doesn't really improve much there, but we're Bourne's only offer, so we're just going to go with that. Can we get a corner, a cheap corner, maybe? Chandon Sullivan. He is a scheme fit guy, but one-year deal. Can we fit him? Yeah, we don't have a salary to do that. Okay, so I think as far as free agency, that's the best we're going to be able to do. Autry, new left defensive end, and also Kendrick Bourne, bringing in a new receiver to go on the opposite side of Chark. And we may have, and this is a first off season where we're just going to have to rely heavily on the draft. You know, we're just going to have to do that. But it's okay with me. Let's go ahead and take a look and see if we sign both of those guys or at least one of them. So Kendrick Bourne is still considering our offer, but we were able to secure Danico Autry as our new left defensive end. That's something that we had to do. I mean, 77 overall, 34 years old, mostly a stopgap guy, but you know what? We needed to get a new left defensive end. We didn't have one. All right. And I think as far as a lot of the offensive line, we're just going to have to address a lot of depth there in the draft. And I think linebacker's just going to have to stay the same. All right, let's take a look. Did we get Bourne? Did we get him to sign? We got him. So we got Kendrick Bourne and Danico Autry. Bourne doesn't fit our scheme, but he is an 80 overall receiver. Just somebody else who can go on the opposite side of Shark and give us another weapon for Bryce Young. He's not a gaudy receiver, but he's somebody solid. All right, so let's go ahead and simulate to the draft, and let's go ahead and get ready for that. I want to go ahead and see what our mock draft has us projected to do before we go into it, because it could be a player that I think, because it could be a player that actually makes sense. But let's see who they have us projected to take. I also need to take a look at what our first round pick is, because I know we're going to be picking later because we made the playoffs and we won our division. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's go to Scout. Let's take a look at the mock draft, and let's see what they have us projected to do. So we currently have the... Oh my goodness. So I forgot about this. We actually don't have a first-round pick. Oh, no. Oh, we don't have a first-round pick. Jeez. Man, okay. Well, this because I forgot the DJ Moore trade from a year ago. Don't have a first-round pick. Oh, my goodness. We got to start off the rebuild with having no first-round pick after we make the playoffs. Anyway, let's start drafting. Here we go.
The Arizona Cardinals are now
all right,
on the
and
clock.
we are finally on the clock. We need to. Hopefully, we can get a decent player here. Okay, the highest guy. Fentrell Cypress the second out of Florida State. Looks pretty solid. We could use another corner. Let's go ahead and draft him. Let's get another corner to go on the opposite of J.C. Horn. And he fits our scheme.
It's the Carolina Panthers now on the clock.
Well, we do need a new receiver, so let's go ahead and take Dorian Singer out of USC with our third-round pick. I wish he fit our scheme, but
the next selection,
it's okay.
The Carolina Panthers.
He's a deep threat, so he'll spread out things a little bit for our passing game and give Bryce Young another good option. Corners and receivers are really top tier right here. We do need a new defensive tackle, so let's take Tyler Davis out of Clemson as our fourth-round pick.
The Carolina Panthers now on the clock.
I don't really want to take another corner. We need a left end as well. So you know what? We're going to roll the dice here. We're going to take Gabriel Murphy out of UCLA. We signed Autry as a new left end, but we need another one as well for depth. Hopefully he's somebody that we can develop. Late round pick, you know, 5th round. But it's okay. We're still in the 5th round here. Let's go ahead and make another pick. Let's see who's still out here. We are in the 5th round, pick 27. Oh, I really want to get some offensive. I really want to get an offensive lineman in this particular round here. Let's go to left tackles. Troy Fautanu from Washington looks pretty promising. He's a day 3 projection. We may be reaching a little bit here, but we're going with a position that we really just need. And he's the top rated offensive lineman at left tackle still on the board. So let's go with him. And that is it. We did not have a 7th round pick. So our first draft, mostly due to the fact that we were set back because of the DJ Moore trade from the previous season. We weren't picking until the 2nd round. Really didn't have a whole lot of picks. We had a lot of later round picks, so hopefully 1 or 2 of these guys can actually blossom into something. So let's go ahead and take a look at the draft recap. Let's take a look at our rookies. Some of these guys I'm excited about, but none of them are really anything really major to write home about. 2nd round pick, 26, Fentrell Cypress the second, cornerback out of Florida State. Man-to-man guy, he fits our scheme. You know, I think getting another corner to go on the opposite of J.C. Horn will really help out. We do have other solid corners behind Horn, but we need some depth back there, and I think getting Cypress in here will really help. And we drafted also with our 3rd round pick, 26, Dorian, is it Darian or Dorian? Dorian Singer out of USC. He doesn't fit our scheme, but he's a deep threat, and I definitely feel like that even though we were able to get Kendrick Bourne, we could use another solid pass catcher to help Bryce Young. We also drafted Tyler Davis. We needed another defensive tackle for depth. Defensive tackle out of Clemson, so we took him in the 4th round. Gabriel Murphy, we needed another left end out of UCLA, so we took him. And we took Troy Fautanu. I believe in one of my other rebuilds I took this guy. I can't remember what rebuild it was. Left tackle out of Washington. Because we need a new left tackle for backup reasons. So, I'm going to take a look at our roster, kind of adjust some things a little bit. Also maybe adjust some of the rookie jersey numbers based on what numbers they wore in college, because I always like to kind of do that. Kind of give them a real sense of what numbers they'd be wearing if they really were drafted by the teams that I rebuild. And one thing I forgot to do was get a fullback. We're just going to have to get one in free agency. So Kendrick Bourne, DJ Chark, Mingo, Terrence Marshall. So Singer is still buried on the depth chart. He's currently our 5th receiver, but, you know, I still am pretty excited about his future. And he actually wore number 5 with Arizona, so we're going to be able to have him keep his number, so that's pretty solid. Tight end, we didn't do anything. Troy Fontenot. Let's see. Troy Fontenot. Yeah, this is a real guy. I've looked him up before. My history popped up. So, yeah, he's number 55. We're going to allow him to keep his number. Our offensive line is just going to really be the same one that we had. We're pretty much running it back like last year. Gabriel Murphy, I feel like actually isn't real, but we'll see. Ooh, maybe he is real. Mercy, UCLA. He's number 11. But that's worn by, but that's worn by Mingo, I think. Is it? No. Who wears number 11? It's not one of these guys. All right, interesting. Yeah, nobody else is wearing 11. Let's give him 11 if we can. Gabriel Murphy out of UCLA. Yeah. Maybe it just autoed to that because he's a defensive lineman, and defensive linemen don't normally wear 11. But we're giving him his old college number. We did take another defensive tackle. Oh, yeah, Tyler Davis. Something tells me this guy is not real. Wait, he is. He is a real player. And he wears number 13. Okay, let's see if 13 is even available. I don't know if it is, but let's see. All right. Pretty cool that we're able to give most of these guys their college numbers. So, I mean, Davis is a guy that I drafted thinking he might be the future. So hopefully, Nixon and Anderson. Anderson will only be around for 1 or 2 more seasons. And I like Tuttle, but still, I mean, Davis may eventually supplant him as being kind of the guy. We only have 1 left outside linebacker, but we can kind of always adjust these guys and have them kind of move around a little bit. I know we drafted, we didn't draft another linebacker. Then we drafted another corner, did we? Yeah, we did. We had to get more depth at corner. Now, Cypress has to be a real guy. Fintrell Cypress. Yeah, that's him. This is a real player. Plays at Florida State, wears 23. Yeah. Now, 69 overall, but he was our 2nd round pick. We didn't have a 1st rounder. Hopefully he can develop along with Jackson. Jackson is 80 as well, but we need some depth at corner, and Cypress was the best guy on the board, so really just wanted to take somebody who may kind of slipped out of the 1st round to the 2nd round, and just give us some help there. So I'm going to adjust some of these positions because I want to make sure that we have a backup free safety, and we have backups at linebacker properly set as well. All right. So we're going to make this guy, we're going to shift this guy to free safety. Williamson. Now let's see about linebackers here. Oh wait, what am I doing? We got a lot of right outside. We got extra outside linebackers. So let's Leota Iku. Let's move him to the left. Make him a left outside linebacker. So we have somebody to go behind Johnson. I mean, Johnson is only a 70, but you know, we really didn't have any money to spend this offseason, so we really had to let things go because we gave so much of that money to Brian Burns. But I really wanted to make sure that Burns was going to stay here. So, you know, it's a sacrifice you have to make sometimes. Let's see. We only have one defensive end, one right defensive end. Can we move one of these guys to the defensive end position? Not Tyler Davis. So let's see about Davian Nixon. It looks like he could be a defensive end. Or shift over there, but let's see. It's probably not going to really... It's probably going to make his overall go down, but still. Oh yeah, Nixon's down to a 65 now. As opposed to being a 67. But we drafted Tyler Davis for this reason, so... Trying to see if we have at least 2 of every lineman. Okay, we do, so that's good. Got 3 tight ends. Receivers, we got a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys are probably going to be cut during camp. Alright, so we're done making the roster adjustments. Let's go ahead and... I'm going to actually go ahead and see if I can like kind of rearrange the depth chart based off of just... I'm going to just auto-reorder it and put things back to that. Let's go to auto-reorder. Yes. Auto-reorder the depth chart. Tuttle, Anderson, Tyler Davis. We got Williamson backing up Rhodes. Awesome. Okay, so that worked, getting the roster depth chart adjusted a little bit there. And we're going to go ahead and advance to the first week of the preseason, and we'll wrap up first year of the rebuild. Interesting way to start off this rebuild, needless to say. No question about it. So, surprisingly enough, we were a playoff team last year. We won the NFC South. Bryce Young went from a 72 to a 79, and we won our wild card round against the Giants. We lost to the Cowboys in the divisional round, who wound up winning the Super Bowl. So the bar has been set higher for this team in year 2, but I'm holding my breath, mainly because of the fact that overall as a team, we're still in the 70s. We haven't been consistently in the 80s. We got up to 80 during last season to make the playoffs, but we also were in a pretty easy division. And because in the first year of this rebuild, a lot of the injuries were kind of carrying over like they are in real life, despite the fact that we had a lot of injuries and, you know, things like that, we still made the playoffs. The biggest concern that I have is that our best receiver, Adam Thielen, retired, so therefore we had to make therefore we got Kendrick Bourne, and we drafted another receiver in the draft to hopefully help us out a little bit there. Year 2, could we see a regression? Maybe. Could we see a similar playoff run? Maybe, but we'll see about year 2. And by the way, guys, I will finish up the Dallas Cowboys rebuild next week with the Super Bowl live stream. I thought about doing it today, but I also wanted to kind of really start up a new rebuild because I think this is really the last bad team overall, you know, based on ratings in Madden that needs to be rebuilt. So, you know, this is a team that I was considering rebuilding when I first started all these rebuilds, and I think the Panthers were a prime candidate for the next one. All right, so shout out to Ashton Wright. By the way, man, I don't do online franchises or anything like that because I really just like to play on my own, so sorry about that. But I appreciate you checking out the video and with the comments, man. I appreciate the engagement as always. So shout out to Ashton Wright. Anyway, this is your boy Malin, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully more Madden 24 next week. Take care.